People say that if you can't see something, it doesn't exist. But every night, someone softly whispers my name near my ear. When I close my eyes, I feel its presence getting closer. And when I open them, the marks are still there. At the far north of New York, there was a narrow dirt road that most people avoided. 2 cars could barely pass each other on it. Tall trees crowded both sides, their branches bending low, like they were watching anyone who entered. During the day, the road felt quiet. Too quiet. At night, it felt alive. People who lived nearby did not talk much. They worked, went home, and closed their doors early. When strangers passed by, no one asked questions. Or maybe they didn't want the answers. At the very end of the road stood an old house. It looked empty, but it didn't feel empty. When Ethan bought the house, the town changed. Conversation stopped when he entered stores. Faces turned away. Some people stared at him with pity. Others looked scared. One old woman finally spoke to him outside the grocery store. "Don't stay on that road after dark," she said. Ethan laughed nervously. "Why?" She leaned closer, her voice low and shaky. "Because the road listens," she whispered. Before Ethan could ask what she meant, she walked away. The first night in the house was calm. Too calm. The walls creaked even when there was no wind. The air felt heavy, like someone had just been breathing there. Ethan told himself it was only an old building settling. Still, he locked every door. As he turned off the lights, he thought he heard something far away. Not a sound exactly. More like the memory of a sound. A soft, broken laugh. Then silence. Ethan lay awake, staring at the ceiling, realizing something very slowly and very clearly. This house was not waiting to be lived in. It was waiting for someone. The first 2 days passed without anything strange. That was what Ethan told himself. On the third evening, when he returned from town, the house felt wrong the moment he stepped inside. The air was warmer than it should have been. Thick. Used. The front door was locked. The windows were closed. Nothing looked broken. But the kitchen was different. The plates were stacked neatly on the counter. The chairs were pushed in. A glass sat by the sink, still wet on the inside. Ethan stood very still. He knew he had not cleaned. He knew he had not used that glass. His heart beat faster as he walked through the house, checking every room. No one was there. Closets were empty. The basement door was still locked. That night, he did not sleep. At 2:17 a.m., he heard it. A laugh. It came from the back of the house, low, slow, and uneven. Like someone trying to remember how to laugh after a long time. It stopped. Then came a deep breath, dragged through tight lungs. Ethan held his breath. The sound came again. Closer. The hallway floor creaked. One step. Then another. Ethan grabbed his phone, but there was no signal. The screen flickered, then went black. The laughter moved behind his bedroom wall. Not inside the room. Inside the wall. Something scratched softly, as if fingernails were tracing the wood from the other side. The wall seemed to bend inward, just slightly. Ethan pressed himself into the corner, staring at the door. The handle did not move. The laughing stopped. Silence filled the room so completely that his ears rang. After a long moment, a whisper slid through the wall, slow and wet. "I'm still learning." The next morning, Ethan found handprints on the inside of the hallway walls. They were pressed outward, like something had been trying to get in. Ethan stopped leaving his bedroom at night. During the day, the house acted normal. No sounds. No movement. Almost peaceful. That was what scared him the most. On the 7th night, Ethan woke up unable to move. His eyes were open, but his body felt heavy, locked in place. The room was dark, yet he could see the window clearly. There was a shape standing outside it. At first, Ethan thought it was a shadow from the trees. Then the shape leaned closer. It was a man. No, something wearing a man's shape. Its face was white, smooth, and stretched too tight. A wide smile cut across it, frozen and cracked like old paint. Its eyes did not blink. They did not move. They were staring directly at Ethan. The thing did not laugh. It simply watched. Ethan tried to scream. Nothing came out. His chest burned as he struggled to breathe. Slowly, the thing raised one hand and placed it against the glass. Each tap felt like it landed inside Ethan's head. The thing tilted its head, as if listening for something only it could hear. Then its mouth opened wider. A soft sound escaped, half breath, half laugh. The bedroom light flickered on by itself. The thing was gone. Ethan gasped and sat up, finally free. His sheets were soaked with sweat. His heart felt like it would tear itself out. Morning light came, but it did not bring comfort. On the outside of the window, there were fingerprints. On the inside of the glass, there were more. That night, Ethan searched the house. In the basement, behind a loose wall panel, he found something wrapped in old plastic. A costume. A clown suit. The smile on the mask was wide and cracked, just like the face at the window. As Ethan stared at it, a sudden thought filled his mind, cold and sharp. The thing outside was not trying to get in. It already knew how. Ethan could not stay silent anymore. The next morning, he drove into town. The sky was gray, heavy, like it might fall. When he entered the diner, the noise stopped. Forks froze in the air. Someone turned off the radio. Ethan felt every eye on him. He sat at the counter and asked the woman pouring coffee, "What happened in my house?" Her hand shook. Coffee spilled onto the counter. "I don't know what you mean," she said quickly. "Yes, you do," Ethan replied. "Something is in that house." People began to leave. Chairs scraped loudly. Doors closed. Finally, an older man at the end of the counter spoke without looking at Ethan. "That house has been sold 3 times, he said. "No one ever stays." "Why?" Ethan asked. The man swallowed hard. "Because it watches first. Then it learns." Ethan felt cold. "Learns what?" "How to be human." The man stood up and leaned closer. His voice dropped to a whisper. "It wears faces. It copies sounds. It practices." Ethan remembered the laugh. The whisper. The fingerprints. "Who was there before me?" Ethan asked. The man's eyes finally met his. They were full of fear. "A clown," he said. "For children's parties. He lived alone. People said he was strange." "What happened to him?" The man shook his head. "One winter the laughter never stopped. Then it changed. Became slow. Broken." Ethan left the diner shaking. That night back at the house, he heard movement in the basement. Slow footsteps. Heavy breathing. A voice floated up the stairs. "Ethan." It sounded wrong. Like someone pulling his name apart. Ethan stood frozen at the top of the stairs. From below, the voice spoke again, clearer now. "I'm getting better." The basement light turned on by itself, and something began climbing the stairs. Ethan stayed in the house for 1 full month. No one knew how. Every day, the house tested him. Objects moved when he wasn't looking. Doors opened on their own. The laughter came every 2 nights, always closer, always clearer. It no longer sounded broken. It sounded happy. Ethan stopped sleeping in his bed. He slept on the floor with the lights on. Even then, he felt watched. Sometimes he woke up to find the lights turned off and muddy footprints leading out of the room. The clown never showed its full face again. But Ethan felt it everywhere. In the mirror, his reflection smiled a second too late. In recordings on his phone, his voice spoke words he didn't remember saying. Once, he woke up wearing the clown mask. That was when he knew. The house wasn't trying to scare him anymore. It was trying to keep him. On the 30th night, the laughter did not come from the walls or the basement. It came from his own mouth. Ethan covered his face, choking, as the sound escaped him in short, perfect bursts. His body shook, but he was not in control. When it finally stopped, The house felt satisfied. The next morning, Ethan packed quietly. The house did not stop him. As he reached the door, he felt something behind him, close enough to breathe against his neck. A voice, gentle and proud, whispered, "Thank you for teaching me." Ethan did not turn around. He left the house and never returned. Today, the house still stands at the end of the dirt road. Empty. Clean. Waiting. And sometimes, late at night, laughter drifts from inside. Not broken anymore, but perfectly human.